I am Emily Grant, a woman whose pursuit of love led me into the shadowy realm of a mysterious matchmaker, an enigmatic figure with supernatural abilities that promised to weave the tapestry of perfect love stories. Little did I know that the matches crafted by the unseen hand of fate would unravel into a web of horror, revealing a cost that transcended the boundaries of the living. It all began on a dreary night, the air thick with anticipation and the echo of my own heartache. In the dimly lit alleyways of the city, I stumbled upon a place shrouded in mystery, a small establishment with an unassuming sign that read, Elysian Matches. Intrigued by the promise of perfect love, I pushed open the creaking door, unknowingly stepping into the domain of the supernatural matchmaker. The matchmaker, a woman draped in shadows with piercing eyes that seemed to pierce through the veil of my desires, welcomed me with a knowing smile. Her supernatural abilities, whispered to be fueled by forces beyond mortal comprehension, promised to forge connections that transcended the limitations of ordinary matchmaking. Intrigued and desperate for the solace of love, I placed my trust in the unseen hands that claimed to shape destiny. The matches were swift, each one seemingly crafted with an intimate knowledge of the intricacies of my heart. The suitors that emerged from the shadows held an irresistible charm, their personalities tailored to complement the depths of my desires. As the relationships developed, I marveled at the uncanny perfection of each connection, blissfully unaware of the malevolent undercurrents that lurked beneath the surface. The first signs of the supernatural cost surfaced in moments of profound intimacy. Whispers echoed through the chambers of my consciousness, eerie voices that seemed to entwine with the beating of my heart. The matchmaker's supernatural abilities, it became apparent, were not without a sinister consequence. The intimate moments with my suitors were shared with an unseen audience, a spectral presence that reveled in the echoes of love. As the relationships progressed, the boundaries between the living and the supernatural blurred. Dreams became a chaotic tapestry of love and horror, where the specters of unseen entities sought to entangle themselves in the threads of my desires. The matchmaker's promise of perfect love now carried an ominous weight. A realization that the supernatural connections forged came at the cost of privacy and the intimate sanctity of relationships. The malevolent undercurrents manifested in chilling encounters with the unseen entities that lurked in the shadows. In moments of solitude, I felt their spectral touch, a phantom caress that sent shivers down my spine. The whispers grew louder, their ethereal voices taunting me with the intimate details of my relationships, a haunting reminder of the price paid for the perfect matches. As the web of supernatural connections tightened its grip, the suitors themselves began to unravel. The charm that had initially captivated me now revealed a sinister facade, and the relationships that had once promised solace turned into a descent into horror. The suitors, influenced by the unseen entities that loomed in the shadows, became vessels for malevolent forces that sought to manipulate the very fabric of my reality. The true cost of the supernatural matchmaking emerged in a climactic revelation. The matchmaker, a puppet master veiled in the shadows, revealed the nature of the unseen entities that had entwined themselves with my relationships. They were souls, tormented spirits bound to the matchmaker's service, forced to witness and partake in the intimate moments of love in a twisted form of spectral voyeurism. The realization struck me with a chilling force. The perfect matches, the seemingly idyllic connections forged by the supernatural hand of fate, were a charade orchestrated by the matchmaker and fueled by the suffering of tormented souls. The relationships that had promised solace were now revealed to be a cruel performance in which the living and the spectral were bound in a macabre dance. Determined to break free from the supernatural web, I confronted the matchmaker in the dimly lit confines of Elysian Matches. Her piercing gaze, once a beacon of mysterious allure, now held a sinister glint as she reveled in the horror she had wrought. The matchmaker, draped in shadows, gloated over the despair that lingered in the air like a haunting melody. In a confrontation that transcended the boundaries of the living, I demanded release from the supernatural connections that bound me to the tormented souls. The matchmaker, unfazed by my plea, reveled in the malevolent forces at her command. The unseen entities, spectral witnesses to the horror they had become, murmured in tortured whispers that echoed through the confines of Elysian Matches. The supernatural confrontation reached its zenith as I, fueled by a determination to break free, sought to sever the ethereal threads that bound me to the unseen entities. The matchmaker, with a flicker of otherworldly power, unleashed a torrent of spectral energy in an attempt to maintain her dominion over the tormented souls. The air vibrated with the collision of forces that defied mortal comprehension. In a blinding burst of supernatural energy, the spectral threads binding me to the tormented souls snapped. The matchmaker, her powers weakened by the struggle, recoiled as the malevolent forces she had harnessed turned against her. The unseen entities, freed from the confines of their spectral voyeurism, sought retribution for the suffering they had endured. As the supernatural forces clashed in a chaotic maelstrom, I emerged from the shadows of Elysian matches, a survivor of a horror that had transcended the boundaries of love and the supernatural. The matchmaker, now a victim of the malevolent forces she had sought to control, was consumed by the very entities she had harnessed for her nefarious deeds. In the aftermath of the supernatural ordeal, I carried the echoes of the horror with me, a survivor forever marked by the spectral voyeurism that had tainted the perfect matches crafted by the matchmaker. The relationships that had once promised solace now bore the scars of the malevolent undercurrents that had lurked beneath the surface. As I stepped into the uncertain future, haunted by the ghosts of the tormented souls and the chilling memory of Elysian matches, I bore witness to the true cost of supernatural matchmaking. The pursuit of love had led me into the shadows, and the echoes of the horror that unfolded served as a chilling reminder that sometimes the pursuit of perfect matches can lead to a web of supernatural nightmares that transcend the boundaries of the living.